that could be something that would give someone like Silverfire an advantage. And I don't mind Maya's setup with the 2-5. Oh, we're getting started.
Yep, and right away, Maya is swapping up his party order to get that white mage out of the first slot, which is the most likely to get hit. We see not much on the white side, and
not much on the black side either.
So this is not going to be a good magic seed early on.
No, not early. One thing I did notice was that Ruse was in a night learnable spot, which is really helpful if they don't find the defense sword.
True. So now we're about to see what's available in the way of weapons. There are weapons, but they're going to be pretty expensive, so getting early on, unrunnable wolves, that could be an issue. They're going to have to hope for a hero run or some easy-to-defeat imps in order to get them the Temple of Fiends.
Yeah, they did have the rub spell in level 1, so I bet what Maya's doing is just making a beeline for... Oh, no, he had a tent. He can check the chest also. But I've seen Maya a couple times just make a beeline towards Garland and ignore these 3 chests.
And in these flags, it does make some sense, because that's an extra key item you could have, and that could make things a lot easier going forward.
One thing I was going to mention about Maya, I like his party. It's a really safe party in the late game, but he could fall pretty far behind if he has trouble finding like castable items, or let's say Fade doesn't show up very early. He's only going to have really 1 caster.
Yeah, and the higher level that those AoE spells start to show up, the fewer charges he's going to have available compared to Bismarck or Tilo, and especially to Silver.
Yes, and another strength of the Black Mage is they are the second best character in the game at running. So that is obviously the biggest weakness of the Black Mage is a lack of hit points. I mean, even in the 20s, they won't survive a nuclear. They get 200, 225 hit points, somewhere around there, and that's their major weakness. But he's gonna have a lot of firepower.
So we're seeing Garland now.
Garland has some spells. There's a heal too to start, but Rub takes care of them.
And looks like Silver is noping out of the chest, resetting, and just going straight for Garland.
So we're starting with the canoe and the loot.
Ooh, whiffing on the early rubs for Silver. I think this is the last chance, and they get it.
They got it. Hopefully they can find a good run. There were tents for cheap. With the canoe starts, usually the biggest problem is it's going to take you a long time to get to Provoca, and you have to navigate the rivers, which can be really dangerous. They are gonna be able to, go to Elfland Castle and see level 3 and 4 magic, but you're not gonna get a ton of those charges early. So, when you start with this canoe and there's not very good black magic early, it can make that trip to, all the way around Provoca, because we're going counterclockwise around the entire map.
Absolutely. In most of these seeds, especially where you see garbage magic in level 1, you want to see what's in Provoca. The hope for these runners is that they can gain enough levels without getting decimated while they take that long walk to Elfland, so they can take advantage of some of those level 3 and 4 spells, especially if they're good.
Now, you mentioned that Silverfire, they did not choose to get the 3 chests. That means that they are not going to have they only have 3 tents for this run, where as our other runners who got that 6,000 gold chest, they're gonna be full up on tents, and they can just kind of save and reset their way through.
Oh, and the dwarf cave does have a house, but from a guild standpoint, absolutely no help getting the booby rise of 1.
Oh, we got Tilo Tilo. Looks like he's going back for those 3 chests. Maybe didn't pick them up and just killed Garland and is going back for them.
It's a fairly sensible play. It's still fairly early. Delaying a little bit and going around in the Dwarf Cave in Elfland is not gonna kill you.
No, and all of our runners pretty close. Silverfire with a very, very slight lead, but did choose to skip those 3 chests, so that explains the lead.
Yeah,
just letting everybody know that we're going to fill everybody in on as much as we can on other races. The top 8 of this race, we have matches going on Randomania 1, Randomania 2, here on 3 and on 4. There's a total of 15 racers, so we're going to do our best to, if people are starting to finish, here in, I'm guessing in about an hour and 20 minutes from now, we'll keep you up to date on where these all stand.
That's right, we got eyes everywhere. We're keeping track of as much as we can here, not just this race.
Big shout out to our tracker Melee Wizard. It's never easy to try to track 4 people, but it's going to do a great job for us.
So there's early fast at level 3, which means that the people going with just the red mages are not that much at a disadvantage. You'd love to have temper too, but arguably I'd love to have fast much more from a melee standpoint.
I got Fade in level 4, so that's gonna, around level 8 is when they'll start to get white mage charges off that, and Lightning 3 at level 4, so, we're getting some better black magic.
True, and Lightning's pretty good for the upcoming river trip these runners are gonna have to take.
We have Tilo Tilo. Looks like he's doing his shopping now in Carnaria. But Bismarck looked like he had to reset out of a fight. He's back around the Dwarf Cave. Maya, I didn't check. Maya's on his way to Elfland as we speak. And Silverfire looks like they are grinding some levels right outside of Elfland. This is going to be a joy to keep track of.
Oh yeah, I believe Bismarck had a character get stoned at the paws of some of those wolves. I couldn't tell whether it was the regular one or the gray wolf that did it.
So I didn't really get a good look at level 3 white magic. I don't know. That's one of the levels of magic that red mages and knights can get locked out of. I didn't see if there was anything they really got locked out of. We haven't seen a vendor item yet. So
we have cabins, piers, and heals, so at least we have the barest essentials in Elfland as far as item goes.
Yeah, Silverfire on their top left starting to and took a save out of there. They, that's where the lower amount of gold is, starting to hurt. Doesn't have the save items that Maya has at this point.
True, although cabins are pretty cheap.
Yeah, 77's a very fair price for cabins. So, it's not
RM3
too far to run to Crescent Lake, and they're of course hoping of floaters in Crescent Lake or at worst Provoca. I personally would like to see a floater in something like the Ice Cave. We don't need I was thought about what kind of seed we wanted to see here. I don't want something too crazy, but I would like to see like a decent amount of, let these runners who are 3 and 2 show off their skills a little bit.
Yeah, perhaps. We did get a chance to see the white magic level 3, and the real highlight there was harm 3 in the 4th slot, which means it's going to be white mage and white wizard only learnable.
Okay.
And we're getting our first look at EXPs, and they have mute. So,
well, those are not EXPs. Those are dangerous.
Especially for caster-heavy groups, such as ones everyone except Maya is running.
Maya, first runner to... Oh, Silverfire is also in Crescent Lake.
Max price gold bracelets. And level 6 Nuke and Saber.
I did see Exit in Tier 4 also, the white magic. So those are going to be spells they won't have a ton of access to. And there's the Rod.
Yes, they will not have exit access for a while, even with that white mage. And level 6 is about the absolute highest you can expect Tier 4 to be even remotely viable.
It's true. Probably our next route is going to be to Provoca, but might choose to gain some levels here. They only really have the rub spell right now, though, to do that. You know, they're probably just hoping, you know, maybe find like an Ice 3 or something in level 2 magic.
That would be
nice.
nice.
We know there's no nuke. Lightning 3 was 4. You know, they're hoping for something AoE.
So, Sages were holding on to the rod for us.
We got Maya getting through the river system, going up towards Provoca. Well, let's see what the pirates have.
Maya is really leveraging the save and reset to try to avoid bad encounters.
Yeah, for any of our runners who don't know, the amount of steps between encounters is random, but it stays the same for the entire seed. So when you hard reset the game, if you have 10 steps before a fight, every time you hard reset, you'll have 10 steps before your first fight. And then between fight 1 and 2, if you have a really long run, like 30 steps, then you'll be able to take those, 30 steps and, they'll hard reset once, take the first fight, reset out, and then they'll be on the second one. So if you notice some of our runners doing that, that's what they're doing.
Maya going straight for the pirates, not even checking level 2 magic first.
And he didn't have a clear spell. I just has rub and some weapons, but we have safe pirates on this seed, so there's really no risk of doing this. This is just going to go slowly.
Right.
Bismarck reaching. We have Bismarck and Tilo. Tilo looks like they're getting to Crescent Lake, just a couple minutes behind.
And Bismarck seeing the selection now. I don't believe that nuke is in a slot where it's going to be Red Wizard learnable.
I don't think it is either. And even if it was, that's one of the things that we talked about where, they might only get one. Okay, so we have Vicky has the bottle. That means the floater. This is interesting because if the floater, the next obvious choice is the Ice Cave, but the Ice Cave can be very difficult without the warp spell. We don't know if the warp spell's at level 2 yet. But what I've seen a lot of runners do, and I'm kind of a fan of, is going to Volcano first and getting some levels to be able to survive the Ice Cave. Because the play on Ice Cave makes sense because if the floater's not in the Ice Cave, that means it's a ship TNT seed, and that means you have to start full clearing everything.
Volcano does make sense. While Ice holds on to the incentivized item, Volcano wins by sheer volume of chests. Even just the armory is a whole bunch of chests on its own in very short distance of each other. There's level 2 Warp and level 2 Temper and level 2 Quad X and level 2 Ice 2. That is
some good magic. I would...
Too much of it.
Yeah, and only having that one Red Wizard, he's going to have to... Geez, I don't know what I would take there. I think you have to take the Ice 2 for just the clear spell. You have to take the Temper for endgame. And you have to take the Warp to get around faster. So I'd say probably as weird as it sounds, Quad X might be what you leave out of there.
And this is where Silverfire has an advantage, because realistically you only need one warp caster.
Correct. And so 3 of our 4 runners are going to be able to, you know, just put that on one. Looks like we have Maya possibly checking out Matoya.
Well, there are 3 chests there.
That's true, and you know, getting some levels on the way. I didn't see the spells that he actually picked up, Maya.
I didn't see him pick up any.
Looks like we have Tilo's reaching Provoca. And Bismarck's also in Provoca, and he saw the white, let's see, level 2 white magic is in Viz 2, but Knights can learn that. It's interesting. Yeah. And, you know, of course, the White Mage Force, they can learn that as well.
Yeah, Knights can learn all of the level 2 white magic, which is pretty decent. There's a free bracelet. Yeah, that's max gold that Maya is going to be able to skip out on paying once.
True, and picked up the katana also, which sometimes sells for a really high price.
With no ninja, yeah, it pretty much is just free money.
Yeah, it's a gold bag right now.
There's also cheap chain armor and pretty inexpensive iron armor in Provoca, so defensive options abound.
Bismarck finishing up his pirate fight. Tilo starting his.
Curiously, Silver is leaving the Knight down.
Possibly could be trying to get some more spell charges.
That is a possibility. The Knight has great HP growth and doesn't really need a ton of levels. That's why you see, like, for example, the PSP speed run of Vanilla Final Fantasy 1 tend to kill the Knight off for a huge chunk of the game.
Oh, max price katana, that's beautiful. That's over 30,000 gold. He's going to be set up for a while.
But now Maya is going to have the struggle of, what do I do there? He grabbed Temper and Ice too. And as nice a luxury as it would be to have that second Invis 2 caster, which I think he actually went and did, you really won't warp.
Looks like he's passing on the Temper.
No, he had Temper, so he's going to pass on Quad X by the look of it.
Oh, okay. Well, here at about the 18-minute mark, we'll see where our runners are going to start to make their next plays. We got Bismarck checking out Matoya also is going to be pretty happy with what they find.
Yeah. Houses are pretty cheap at $577.
Oh yeah, that's a great price for houses. That also really brings in the volcano play into, because you can go clear out the armory and then get, warp out real easy. Pop a house with your extra levels and your extra spell charges.
We see Bismarck is making his Matoya play now, and it looks like Silver's also heading in that direction, so they are going to erase the money deficit they had early. Meanwhile, Tilo is headed back to the rivers.
It's just going to be interesting to see if he goes ice or volcano. I like the volcano play, especially with warp and ice 2 and cheap houses. The volcano makes a lot of sense, and that looks like what Maya is doing, is making a trip over to volcano. He seems like he's got this encounter table figured out also.
Looks like that's also the way Tilo's going, but Tilo did not make a diversion to Matoya, and so now he has a bad money deficit. So Silver's got their katana and gold bracelet, and now gotta make it back to Provoca safely to sell it off. We see Maya starting to clear the first basement floor of Volcano, checking out the side chest first. Nasty stun touch from that group, and you especially don't want to see that at level 5, even with decent armors.
26 heal potions, I don't think is enough to make any kind of a serious run at actually finishing. Ooh, Peds. I forgot Peds are in Volcano, and they are nasty.
Mute against caster heavy groups. Enough said.
I always hate when mute are on unrunnable packs, and then you have to melee them down. Because in these flags, you know, we are depending so much on AoE magic.
Absolutely. There have been a lot of rainbow mage groups in these flags.
I mean, my personal favorite group, though, when I was running my seeds, is I like the double red mage, white mage. Ooh, we got the defense sword. I like the party that Tilo is running. It's my current favorite.
Defense is pretty handy. A lot of money, too.
Tilo does have a full, you know, amount of heal potions, so that's nice.
That is definitely handy in here.
Oh, and there's the mask. Okay. This was the play.
Absolutely. And Maya is going to find that out in a second also if he hasn't already, while it looks like Bismarck and Silver are going to try to attempt a little bit of a pop grind.
This is kind of showing off the, you know, the beauty of this randomizer is that these kind of plays, you know, can really, I don't hate the pop grind. I tend to like doing pop grinds if I have really powerful spells like Nuke or Fade or something like that, and I can just mow through it quickly. Some of these are pretty dangerous fights to take without.
Even Fire 2 would be good with all the zombies and trolls that show up.
That's true.
And Team Steak is going to be thrilled tonight. Unrunnable Tyros.
I'm glad I'm not in this race. I'm a Team Tyro guy myself. And
Yeah,
Maya finds his mask man.
I am definitely Team Tyro as well. So Maya's going to have two good offensive options, although the second one he won't be able to equip until he class changes. Masmian is good, and defense is pretty respectable early on. Ideally you'd love to find Excalibur or at least the Sun Sword so you could devote using the defense for its ruse proc.
That's true. You know, with the defense and the Masmian, you know, you can kill Chaos with a single fighter.
So everyone's doing pretty good to start. They had the early canoe seed, so they had to go around via Dwarf Cave and Northwest Castle to take the back way to Crescent and Provoca. And we've seen a couple people checking the volcano where they were heftily rewarded with the defense sword and the Masmian.
Let's see where we have Maya headed next. Looks like he is taking a trip back to Elfland. Maybe he has some more shopping to do.
It could be. There were some primo spells there.
Loaded on money as well. Could possibly also be loading up on heal potions if heal potions were for sale in Elfland and not for sale in Crescent Lake.
I'm not sure about Crescent, but you had your bare essential cabin, pures, and heals in Elfland.
Okay, so let's check in. Bismarck also going back to Elfland. Hasn't checked out the volcano yet. We have Silverfire has chosen that they're going to check out the volcano and will be very happy.
Yeah, they will be thrilled. But not thrilled to see that PED group right at the start and open out of that and resetting. So you might also notice that some of the sprites look funky. This has been a recurring thing throughout this tournament so far. People using alternate sprite sets.
Yeah, as a fellow Baldman myself, I'm a huge fan of Bismarck's ROM, and I'm really hoping that he gives it to me someday.
I am, of course, a big fan of the sprites Silverfire is using because I created them.
Oh, that's correct. You, Valkyries of Light.
Yep, Silver is in fact running the 0.99 version, the most recent. You can find it on ROM hacking at your convenience.
I have that as well. Okay, so looks like Tilo has gone for the Ice Clay play.
And that could be a very smart move. You know the incentivized item is there. You have very early warp. So, worst case scenario, even if you check the incentivized chest early, then decide to dive deep and run into something really terrible, it only takes a couple minutes to dive back down to the incentive floor and then warp back out.
Yes, I also really like, in this specific situation, seeing what the incentive item is at least, because you know if it's not the floater, then you know that, oh boy, we gotta check every chest until we find a ship and a TNT.
Absolutely. They may even have to check non-existent places.
You know, that could, like, you know, could take us to the Marsh Cave. Marsh Cave, Marsh Cave runs in, I'd say, about 20% of our runs. It's really these ship TNT seeds where, you know, let's say if the crown is in the Ice Cave, you know, that could open up a ton of possibilities. Really want to see the bridge if you see the crown, because doing the crown quest without the bridge and only a canoe, it takes forever.
Oh god, yes. Having to take the back way around like that.
Yeah, you have to walk from Astos all the way around to Matoya, then all the way back to the King, and then start to check all your chests again. It's a fun run. I think my race against Ali Jabrap had a something similar to that. We had a horrible seed where, you know, it was a ruby locked canoe, and you know, we couldn't get the canoe until we got the ruby, and Silverfire picking up their mass, and you know, just jump in real quick there, but it was a fun one.
Also grabbing their defense sword, so pretty much everything they need from the armory.
The defense sword is also equipable by Red Wizards. It's a really nice weapon for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I did notice that Silverfire only has about one heal potion, so they may have to take a side trip back to Crescent or Elfland to restock.
We have a seed, ladies and gentlemen. We have the tail in the Ice Cave, which means this is a ship TNT seed.
Oh boy.
For anybody watching this, maybe not super familiar with the game, we have these incentivized locations that have the key items. Now, we know where the king, the princess, the pirates, the sages, and now the Ice Cave locations. Those are the only ones that you can reach with a canoe and not a ship TNT combination, because in vanilla Final Fantasy 1, you needed the ship and the TNT to get out of this beginning area. That means that our floater is either going to be in the waterfall, Castle Ordeals, or it could be our vendor item somewhere, which could be in on-rack or the caravan.
It could also be Sarda.
Oh, that is true, because the Sarda, that is true. Thank you for that. You can get to the ruby if you can find the ruby first. This does actually kind of cut down on the amount of locations you have to check because we don't have the crown yet. This would be a really nasty seed if it was something like, well, I guess you couldn't even have that. But yeah, not having the crown really means that the ship TNT combo it's in marsh, it's in volcano, or it's in ice. One of the two. One of those three.
Now, at this point, after having checked the incentive item and find out what it is, I would say that ice and volcano have about equal value. While you do have the fiend at the end of volcano, and that is mandatory to progress the game, ice has a similar number of chests, and if you don't have to check the incentivized anymore, it's actually a fairly short trip with only a couple of spike tiles that could trip you up.
Yeah, I agree. They both make perfect sense. If it was me, maybe I'd go to the ice cave just because there's less out of the way chests. Most of the chests in the ice cave are directly on your path. Really only a short divergence for that frost wolf cave, but nothing too out of the way, because we have to, in this, our runners are gonna have to check every single chest to try to find, because that TNT in the ship is going to be in a chest.
And fortunately, that Frostwolf room does have 6 chests clustered together, so even though it's a little out of the way, as far as chest economy goes, it's still worth it.
And it would make total sense for the Marsh Cave to be the last choice, because you don't have to go there. I mean, if the ship and TNT is in either the Ice Cave or Volcano, or some combination of the two, just avoid the Marsh Cave unless you actually have to be there.
Judging from what I'm seeing out of the other racers, remember that this is going on 4 channels simultaneously. A couple of runners have already found the TNT, so that's probably pretty close by.
That is true.
And it does lend more credence to your theory that this is going to be a ship TNT seed. We also have our...
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just trying to get caught up on the Google Doc that we have a wonderful shared Google Doc that has all 15 of our runners and the progress that they have.
I was just about to say, we have our first orb lit. Edgeworth over on Randomizer Prime has lit the Earth Orb.
Oh, wow, that means that they would have gotten ship TNT also to get to the Earth Cave.
Yep, and we are seeing exactly where the ship and TNT is thanks to our trackers across all 4 channels. Y'all are doing a bang-up job.
Tilo checking out the Matoya's cave here. And Bismarck checking out these lower level ice chests. I didn't see what was in the Frost Dragon room.
Ooh, vanilla unrunnable Frost Giant Frost Wolf. Let's hope they don't have something nasty. And Melee telling us in chat that it was a heel helmet in the Frosty room.
It's not horrible. Got the fighters down for Bismarck. I think whoever, if one of our runners can get through this ice cave cleanly, that's gonna be a big advantage. Be a big lead at least. Oh, there's the TNT.
Yep, it's in the top left chest of the Frostwolf 6-pack.
So if we see, we have Edge Figaro on Randomania 4 has lit the Fire Orb.
And he also has the ship and the TNT, so that makes sense. If you're deep diving Volcano, you may as well get the Fiend out of the way for the free exit.
That's what I love to do as well. If I'm at Volcano, let's just get it done while we're there. You got warp, you can get out, you can take a house if you need to, and just, you know, I like to get everything done while I'm at one place.
And Volcano has the advantage of being the only Fiend dungeon that doesn't require a progression item to actually get through. With Mirage, you need the Chime to get in, and the Cube to progress. With Water, you need the Oxiel, and with Earth Cave, you need the Rod to get past halfway.
Yeah, Maya looks like they chose to do an eye grind, which I don't hate at all because they have the Massium, which, you know, they're going to be able to get through one round. Unfortunately, he's going to find the tail and is going to feel really bad that they didn't. I didn't see if they did, but if they didn't check the other two chests, they're going to think, oh my goodness, Ship TNT could be at those two other chests because they entered one of the holes that allowed them to warp straight up. Looks like Bismarck. No ship in those rooms, but is out with their TNT. So, you know, probably going to make a trip back to Crescent Link, get their fighter up, and then Volcano makes the most sense.
Have you seen a life spell yet?
I don't think I have.
That could be an interesting dynamic, even with this White Wizard. The life spells could be trapped up in the high spell levels.
And I'd feel bad for the Red Wizards. They're going to be glad that there's a forced White Mage at that point. I'm sure all of the runners are hoping Life Magic's in level 5. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, none of our runners here have made a visit to Melman yet. So we see Tila's back in the Volcano. The White Mage is eating lava, as it looks like he's checking the outlying chests on B1.
This makes sense. I mean, you have to check everything at this point.
Right, you've already checked all the incentives that you have immediate access to, so one of those side chests has to be holding that ship. It doesn't look like Tilo has found the TNT yet, though, so he'll have to probably make a return trip to Ice if that's the case.
That's probably his plan at this point, I would assume. He did dive at a pretty low level and just warped to check the chest. So it's a smart play. If that was the floater, he would be way ahead at this point.
Yeah, and it is easier to grind from low levels in the Volcano. The Ice Cave enemies, especially in Vanilla, are a steep difficulty spike from what you're used to running into at those level ranges.
There's also a lot of like 9 packs of enemies with a variety of enemies that can have really nasty, you know, spells on just about every pack that you run into. We got Maya picking up their TNT.
Bismarck is restocking in Crescent, and they do have heal potions there. Silver's in Ice again. Or, well, doesn't have the tail yet, so could be the yet another time of trying to get through. Maya found his TNT.
Oh, so
There's life at level 6, and I believe that slot is Red Wizard learnable as well.
well, that'll be good. The White Mage will at least get a decent, you know, 2 or 3 charges of that. And the Red Wizard might get 1, which that 1 could be, you know, the difference between getting your White Mage up after a Kraken fight or not.
Absolutely. Having that even that one life charge on a red wizard or a knight can be clutch.
It's like Maya. Let's finish this last room in the ice cave. Tilo going deeper into the volcano. Note that Tilo does not have the TNT at this point.
Silver is doing the warp trick and gonna find their tail. And it looks like Silver's just gonna get the heck out of Dodge for the moment.
Could be
Maybe
making a play towards an eye grind.
Possibly. They could have also been trying to counter manipulate, because this can't be the first time they've been in Ice Cave. Get rid of a couple image wraith encounters on the incentivized chest floor to not have to deal with something nastier on the lower floor.
I am interested. Tilo has had a white mage down for a long time, and I've noticed that white mage only has 50 health. I wonder if they've chose to go for a 3-person strategy and just damn the white mage for the entire.
It's a valuable play that can be made. Even with level 4 Fade, the white mage is not contributing much offensively, and these flags do not really support protracted grinds except in the most extreme cases, so if you can Dan one party member you're going to get little use out of to funnel experience to the other 3 and prorate that grind across the entire run, it makes sense.
Yeah, the only thing that I could think about is if that life 2 is not at level 5, that could be, you know, you're going to want that white mage to at least have some life charges, because as we said earlier, the red wizards, they might get 1 charge of that life spell at level 6 towards the end game.
Very true.
Tilo with a 64,000 gold chest, that's, you know, he's set for the rest of the game.
That'll almost buy a gold bracelet by itself if he needs it.
And Bismarck picked up their defense ward in Masmium in the armory room. Maya's out with his TNT, stocking up at Crescent Lake.
And he did full clear.
Okay, it looks like Edgeworth did not do the Earth Cave, he did the fire instead.
Either way, it's still the first orblet.
That does, well, we've seen some runners with ship TNT. Okay. Silverfire picking up their TNT. I was thinking to myself, that's a blistering time to have ship TNT and clear the entire Earth Cave. But that makes more sense now if it's the fire orb instead of the Earth one.
Looks like Silver's got the TNT and is getting the hell out.
And Tilo on the bottom floor checking out the Red Dragon room.
Pete's have heat. As if they weren't threatening enough with the mutes. Ooh. Oh boy, this must be what's been keeping Silver. So Silver knows the valuable stuff that's there. They just gotta figure out a plan to get out of it. Stun touch and heavy hitting wraiths.
Well, Red Dragons have frost as well.
but it looks like they don't have many hit points, and
There's your ship.
there are some flags that would have that chest as an incentive one. These are not those flags, but that doesn't matter because there's a ship there anyway.
That is an incentivized chest in this one. So we have found our ship. We do not have any runners yet that have both.
That's right, since Tilo still needs to go back and get that TNT from the ice cave. And Tilo giving us our first look at Carrie. Oh my god, she hits like a truck. No cure.
Really needs to dodge a melee on this fighter. Have the fighter go first. Oh.
That works too.
You can do it. No quad X on. Chose to go with no quad X on either red mage. There we go. Tilo has it down. Very happy that Carrie decided to split the melee shots over all three of their characters.
Absolutely. If Carrie had even focused 2 of those shots on one character, Tilo would probably be having to run most of that dungeon again. Maya is running through Volcano as well. Looks like he's checking his outlying chests. Fires are runnable, thankfully, but he's choosing to fight him and maybe get a little experience off of him. I can't say I blame him there, as long as he doesn't show anything too threatening.
Bismarck taking a dive towards the lower levels of Volcano now.
So Silver is fighting Eyes, and this is a smart move because part of what has been holding them back has been low levels, so it's much easier for the roving undead groups to paralock and smack the living bejesus out of them.
But as you mentioned, that dips back down to the bottom. I only saw level 8 on the mages, so it must not have been too prolonged of a grind.
Yeah, there just aren't that many spell charges. On the other hand, they know exactly what chest holds the TNT, and they don't have to bother with any others. That may tip the encounter table just enough to avoid seeing that death encounter at the end, and we see unrunnable mages.
Yeah, that's probably because they died when they got pretty close to getting out, so that should be able enough to get them through.
You also have to wonder about supplies on Silver's side. Okay, they have a decent amount of heal potions. It's just the max HP that's kind of holding them back a little bit.
I just realized this is our last match with Swiss flags. We've probably had upwards of 110 matches with these flags, and this will be the last of them. Unless in the rare scenario that we mentioned before this, if there's a tie for 8th place, they will have a play-in race.
Yep.
They will have a play-in for the play-in.
Silver's got the TNT yet again, and running into unrunnables again. Gotta get out of there. So we know Tilo has to go back to Ice Cave. They only went as far as the incentive chest, and we know that the TNT is in one of the Frostwolf chests. While it looks like they have a little bit of a lead with that fire orb lid, it really isn't right now.
Yeah, it's not too much of a lead. It kind of shows how going back and forth. Oh, I didn't even notice there was another katana in that room with the 65,000 gold. That's about 100,000 gold room. I think Bismarck might be doing a bit of a... Oh, no. Just checking the Agama chest, not doing an Agama grind.
And Silver makes it out.
Dragon armor in the Agama room.
Yep, and it looks like Bismarck is about to find his ship.
Looks like we got Maya and Bismarck basically high-fiving each other at this point with the same amount of progression on the same floor. Bismarck with maybe a 10-second lead.
And finding his ship.
So Bismarck 189, our first runner who can leave this original continent. Granted that they can handle the carry fight and get out of here in one piece.
And Maya is not going to be far behind as he picks up his ship. We see the Tilo's back in Elflin, which is curious. We don't know what the Marsh Cave has, but we know it doesn't have the ship or the TNT. Well, it doesn't have the TNT, that's the important thing.
And if we just want to give a little context to maybe where these racers stand right now, looking at the master sheet right now, I count 9 racers right now that have both the ship and the TNT. If it is completely up to date and accurate, that means, you know, our runners are Bismarck and Maya right now is probably sitting around that 8th, 9th place right now, and 8 runners make it. There's still a lot of race to go, but that's where we stand right now.
We have 3 other runners on other channels who have turned in their TNT to open the canal and open up the Melmond area. Excise Blue, Bratster, and Falconic have all opened up their way to the outside world. Bismarck's out with Carrie dead, and Maya is about to do the same.
On another channel, we have a floater sighting. I will not spoil where the floater is, but we do have a runner that has found it.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun. And yeah, it looks like Tila may be making that trip to Marsh, which it doesn't look like it's going to be a good call, judging from what we're seeing.
That is, I can see. I mean, Tilo made a joke before that he just didn't want to get last place. He might be thinking that in a field this big, that maybe making a play for the ice cave, the Marsh Cave could pay off in a big way in this race. But I mean, we know where the Maskmune is, unless, you know, he finds something like a power gauntlet. I really hope that he didn't forget that he hasn't checked everything in ice.
Well then, Fuchsia, apparently Tilo is running out of bounds, because that's exactly where he is.
We got our wonderful tracker Melee Wizard gets to show us the Marsh Cave background, which I am a huge fan of. I love that background.
I love the background, I love the palette. I do not love the encounter rate.
And nobody actually likes the Marsh Cave. It is a nice looking place, though. I suggested that for some of the bracket stages that they should have added another item to the incentive pool and made the marsh cave an incentive location, that would have been fun. Because in our randomizer, we're allowed to add certain items to, you can make like the mass mune an incentivized item, you can make a ribbon, an opal gauntlet, opal bracelet, so, you know, add one more incentive item to the incentive pool and make the marsh cave incentivized location. That could have made things pretty interesting.
Silver's
But our runners would have hated us.
Yeah, Silver's making the deep dive now, and it looks like they have a red mage burrito, because she's down. So this could be interesting with so much volcano to go. Tilo is on the bottom floor of Marsh Cave now.
And Silverfire now picking up the second to last floor. They are clearing out, going to find the dragon armor in the Agama room, Ice Sword in this room they're currently in.
Hopefully they don't pull a Tristle and skip the red D. Maya is off to the Dwarf Cave, and it looks like Bismarck is not far behind, as it's time to open up a canal.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what we have for level 5 magic. Maya with the slightest of leads. According to our tracker, he is the 6th person to get the canal.
And Bismarck will be the 7th.
Right behind.
Ooh, Maya running into some unrunnable wolves and choosing to reset before heading back to the boat. And Bismarck with a smart play. He parked his ship at one of the canals. Maya parked up at the normal dock.
Ooh, Life 2 is not in level 5.
That means it's gonna be level 7 or 8.
Nothing super exciting in Black Magic, Fire 2, and Bane. We don't have the slab yet, so... Ooh, those are super cheap pro rings. I'd be very happy to find those. And we have Tilo noping out of the Marsh Cave. But there was a ribbon. I did just notice that there was a ribbon in the Marsh Cave.
That could be a sleepy advantage.
It's hard to think that it's worth the 5-10 minutes out of the way, but it is. He did get something out of this.
Well, so far we have not seen any other ribbons yet, so... Depending on the rate these runners find things, it could make a difference. I mean, we haven't seen the... I'm not sure if we've seen the wall spell yet.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing the wall spell either.
So, for those coming in late, this is basically a 15-way play-in race. We do have a 16th player, but he is not eligible to... His time will not count.
Yes, Crystal MTG on our 4th stream is running just for kicks and to, you know, keep everything even four ways. We got Silverfire picking up their ship. Currently down to just 2 light warriors, so it could make this carry fight pretty interesting.
Yeah, this could be trouble.
Bismarck and Castle Ordeals.
And almost out of supplies, too. Bismarck and Ordeals, this is a pretty smart play considering you have a very early access to the warp spell, so even if you have do wrong, you'll only lose a second or two with each time.
Got plenty of levels to get through here now. I just noticed he's 15 and 16. And it's found the stairs.
Good old number 1. So it looks like Silver's gonna nope out and maybe revive their crew. Yeah, with only the fighter alive and no supplies left, this is gonna be dicey.
There's the slab for sale vendor item at the caravan for 37,000, or that looks like 37,000. Yes, 37,000.
So as soon as Maya runs into a floater, that'll open up at least the lower part of Mirage Tower. And you may be thinking, but wait, don't you need a floater to get to the Oasis in the first place? Well, we do have a nifty flag turned on, as you're seeing on Maya's screen, called Open Progression, which adds a couple of docks to the northern world. We're seeing Bismarck's Run Ordeals pay off with the floater.
Also a white shirt in the chest right before there. So I'm going to give quite the lead to Bismarck at this point out of the 4 racers. First with the floater at the hour 2-minute mark. And because the world is round, he will be able to make a short little trip north to actually get to the Ryukon Desert area to pick up his airship, and he will be flying. He has the tail, he can class change. Luckily, I don't think he may have missed out on the level 15 charge for his fighter's soon-to-be knight. But there's not much you can do about it in a flag like this, getting the floater this late.
So Maya's giving us her first look at the waterfall, and Tilo is diving back in ice to go get his TNT. Gotta wonder how much time that diversion in the marsh cost him, though.
I would say 10 minutes, maybe. Now, Bismarck visiting Gaia right now, has the bottle, can get the Oxio. Also, check out this item shop, find out there's nothing there.
Not even save items. What a waste. So, in Swift Flagstead, this is a certainty. Pop the bottle and you will get the Oxio. But once we get to the bracket stages, that may no longer be the case.
That is true. We have complete NPC shuffle. Looks like we had Maya go to the waterfall first. I didn't see the key item that's in the waterfall. Looks like the cube is in the waterfall.
Yep.
Will be disappointed, knows that the floater has to be in Ordeals now.
Fortunately, with the way he went, it's only a short trip with the ship away. He doesn't have to cross all the desert and forests and stuff on the way to Ordeals like he would if he had taken the airship.
Looks like we have 2 runners on other streams who have 2 orbs lit now, Ice Blue and Edge Figaro.
Yep, both of them sparking off Earth. Apparently, Excise also found the power bomb somewhere.
Also, we know that the crown will be at Sarda by process of elimination.
Silver's opened their canal and got their boat, so now we'll see where they're headed.
Tilo picking up his TNT in the ice cave. Something I learned the hard way. The ship does not always show up in Provoca. The ship shows up at the nearest port, I believe.
Right, and since they picked it up in Volcano, the nearest port technically is Alpha North. It will always show up on the inner sea.
I haven't seen anything too exciting in the Cardia Isles chests. Bismarck now has his money for his slab.
Silver picking up level 5 black magic and finding that Bane is in a slot that the red mage cannot learn straight away. Don't knock it, there's been many surprise kills with Bane in this tournament so far.
Oh yeah, Bane strats they've been very legit strats in this tournament. Never seems to work for me, but
so Silver is either headed to Waterfall or Ordeals, judging by the direction. Well, we'll see. Yep, Ordeals is going to be the play. Maya's got his floater now, and he's about to fight the zombie D's and get out.
Silverfire going straight for Ordeals will be rewarded with this play with their floater.
And smart move to scum an encounter out the way, even though they don't know what's in there per se. It does allow them to take a few more steps before running into that first encounter, just due to where things are on the table.
Maya's out with their floater, gonna grab their airship. Gonna be very happy to class change with those 2 knights. Has the best weapon in the game, in my opinion, in the Matt's Immune, and the defense is also a great sword.
Absolutely. And some of the fiends coming up, Kraken, Tiamat, even the first versions, they could be nasty, and having that backup offense there with a decent weapon like the defense, it can save you.
Yeah, and we also have to take into consideration the fighter's crazy amount of HP can a lot of times live through a Kraken hit, can completely survive like a nuke or a nuclear roll. It's like Maya is going to be visiting Sarda. Be the first of our runners to find the crown.
Now we'll see if Maya decides to do the crown quest now or route it further into the run. because he will need the key to complete the game. There are a couple key-locked rooms in TOFR.
He's really close to Northwest Castle right now. Silverfire reaching the final floor of Castle Ordeals. Bismarck has their cube, finished Waterfall, visited all the incentivized locations, and now just gotta light some orbs, get the Mystic Key. We had Tila picking up his canal.
So, how far behind you want to say that Tilo's Marsh play got him?
Man, I wish I was writing down times everybody got something. I'm just gonna throw in maybe 10 minutes. I would guess the Marsh Cave took 10 minutes. Also, I believe, the first floor of Volcano, and then the first floor of Ice, and then back to Volcano, and then back to Ice, I think is how the play ended up working out.
Silver having rough luck running into Medusas would crack. Time for Maya to class change. Gersharks, we're finding out on Bismarck's screen, have stun touch. That ain't exactly the best thing to see, because they can hit pretty hard to begin with, and they usually have a pretty funky chunk of hit points.
Bismarck did not visit mermaids. I believe that's the correct play. Having the Maskey and the white shirt, the defense sword, you probably feel pretty good.
It's a smart call anyway, because you want to... If you're still looking in Sea Shrine for items, you may as well go to Kraken first. There's a fairly similar number of chests, and you get a fiend out of the way in the process.
It's a light axe in the Sharknado room. One of my favorite weapons, personally. It casts one of the harm spells. I'm not sure which spell it casts off the top of my head, but it's nice to give the fighter an ability to clear undead like that.
It is harm too.
And it's a really good weapon for the fighter before they get promoted as well. Looks like we do have Maya doing the crown chest. I mean, crown chain of quests. Going to turn in their slab, probably.
Yep, gonna check the magic first and finding not much there. Well, Fog 2 is a decent option, I guess. There's some bosses where if you have both, you'd rather have Fog.
Yeah, it's situational. With this much money, of course, it's a great spell to have. So we have Maya and Bismarck taking kind of a divergent path from one another. I'd say they're pretty close. I'd say I might put Silverfire maybe a couple minutes behind them, and maybe Tilo 10 minutes behind them.
Silver's got the ship now, and we're gonna see where they head off to. Looks like the first stop may be Sarda.
Let's see what Kraken 1 has. Silverfire picking up their crown. We're doing some shopping in Maya and Corneria. Like this, when you do the crown quest after promotion, you can pick up all your spells for your fighter.
Kraken had stun touch, but didn't look like much else or a ton of hit points. A bunch of fade charges gets rid of it pretty quick.
And according to this tracker, Bismarck is the first person in this entire 15-person race to finish the Earth Cave. The Sea Shrine.
Yep.
Silverfire doing their crown chain. We have Tilo. Tilo looks like he's visiting Waterfall first.
Yep, so he'll get his cube, but without that bottle popped and that Oxyale, he isn't gonna be able to maximize this trip from a routing standpoint.
That is true. Bismarck did get his bottle before heading over to this area.
And that's something you just learn with experience. It takes time to figure out which one of these side runs you should be grouping with the others. Like trying to combine your waterfall trip and your sea shrine trip. Or if you're going to translate the slab and you have the rod on you, you may as well go kill Lich.
And I will say that Tilo was the person who defeated me to... He's in this race and I'm not, so... We had our race on Tuesday evening, and he won his chance to be in this race.
Maya's checking keylock chests in Elfland and not finding much.
From our tracker, our global tracker, it appears that if he continues checking some ice cave, not the ice cave, some keylock chests, there's something he's going to be pretty happy to find. Then Bismarck checking out the Earth Cave before doing the key chain.
And with easy access to warp and picking up exit here as well, the place where the item you're talking about is sitting is not that far out of the way.
Nope.
If I didn't have a travel spell, I probably wouldn't check there, even with the key.
True. Have to imagine all of our runners will go to the place we're talking about. One thing that I am noticing, the only ribbons that we've seen so far is the ribbon in the Marsh Cave.
Apparently there's a second ribbon where one of our runners has already been. He just didn't grab it.
Oh, okay.
So this could be bad from a defensive standpoint for Bismarck, especially if Chaos is choosing to throw things other than nukes or nuclear, stuff that the ribbon can actually protect you from. Things like infernos or blizzards.
True. According to our master tracker, there is a ribbon in the Sea Shrine.
We don't know whether that was a side chest that Bismarck skipped, or possibly even on the mermaid side, which he didn't bother with at all. Maya is checking Dwarf Cave. and I imagine he's gonna be pretty happy.
And
There it
there's
is.
the Power Gauntlet. Power Gauntlet, white shirt, defense sword. You got everything. The mass immune, you got everything you need to beat the game at this point. You got fast spells, you got temper spells.
Really, the only thing you want at this point are ribbons, just for quality of life and to make sure that stray third-tier elemental skills don't wipe your group.
This is true. We know that most of our runners are... The most that they'll find is 2. Maybe Tilo finds 3.
Well, we know Bismarck can only find as many as 1. Because he ain't gonna check Marsh.
He's
There's
not
no
going
reason
back.
for him to. And I don't see him go back to C either.
And you did make a good point about not seeing the wall spell. It could be out there, and I just don't remember seeing it, but the wall spell would be, you know, can somewhat make up for a lack of ribbon.
It is a ribbon for a battle, although it does take a turn or two to set up depending on how many casters you have of it. Silver's in the waterfall. Bismarck's fighting Lich. Boy, can you miss him.
So now we have 3 orbs lit on Bismarck's side. It has not finished the crown chain yet, which I assume will be his next play because he's getting his slab translated right now. Pick up his spells for his knight while he's down here and his red wizards.
And that would put him roughly in second place in the entire group. The only other runner to have 3 orbs lit at the moment is X Ice Blue over on Randomizer Prime.
Yeah, I'd say for all of our runners, I'd say things are probably going to start happening in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes, I'd say, is Topher time. I could be wrong, you know, this, you know, Mirage or the Sky Castle could be very difficult, but that's about the time, I think, about the hour 45-minute mark. I think we're going to start to see people doing some Topher dives. We got Tilo picking up his floater.
Maya is our first here to actually pick up the chime from Lefane, but he does only have the 1 orb lit. He still has to do sea and earth.
He's got absolutely all the fetch quests done though, so you know, it's just complete go mode for him now. He was our runner that found the power gauntlet, so he knows that he's an absolute let's get this done mode.
And he could still conceivably run into that Sea Shrine ribbon depending on where it is and what he checks.
I do expect him to check a lot of chests here in Mirage.
Yeah, you got a nice cluster of them to start on the first floor, and the less than greater than room does hold 10 chests of its own, although it's a slight bit of a walk off the path.
Bismarck picking up that really nice level 6 white magic. About as good as you can ask. Harm 4, Cure 4, Exit.
Yeah, and you only really need Exit on 1 character.
This is Zeus Gauntlet. Really nice AoE casting spell. Item.
And the black shirt.
Silverfire is our only racer that has a character that can equip that, and Silverfire is getting trolled by an NPC.
While that is true, the black shirt does have the ability to be used as ice too, so Silver can maximize its usage, but the others can still use it. curious. Silver back at the volcano. I wonder if they forgot to check some chests. Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
that's great. Never finished carry.
That's right. They had no bout.
This will only take a matter of a couple minutes. Don't have to check a single chest. Can just take all the. Some of our newer racers may not know that these lava tiles, you do lose health on them, but you don't. They don't increase the step counter. So all of these lava tiles, you see our runners run on them because they do not get encounters when they're stepping on those.
Exactly. And that saves a bunch of time, even when you factor in having a heal potion up afterwards.
Opal bracelet. And
Yeah.
leave greater than less than room.
That is a good find.
It's equipable by absolutely everybody. Has a ton of absorb. Best armor that you can possibly have on a white mage.
Bismarck running across the power bonk. He's gotta drop something to go get it, though. Ain't gonna drop a useless opal gauntlet.
And we do have a ribbon number 3 sighting on one of our other streams.
Yep, and Maya may be running across it soon, depending on how much he decides to check up ahead.
Silverfire trying to zap carry. Makes short work of carry. So that's the first orb for Silverfire.
They got 3 more to go, but just because of how the lead looks at the moment, the top 8 move on.
Yes, we're going to do our best to try to keep everybody up to date on kind of where we think our racers are currently standing. I just being completely honest here at the hour and let's say 30-minute mark, I'd say, you know, Bismarck and Maya are certainly in contention. I would probably put Silverfire and Tilo a little behind the pace for 8th place right now. So much can change when Temple of Fiends Revisited, but I would say just from looking at my master tracker, that's where I'd put them right now.
I'd say so also. Bad routing has kind of doomed Tilo a little bit, and Silverfire just facing some unfortunate wipes. Ooh, so not only are the Tyros unrunnable, they have Sleep Touch too.
Well, that's good for the Tyros. That's what you get for... Tilo visiting the Sea Shrine here. Let's see where, if he happens to stumble across the ribbon that's here in the Sea Shrine. Something tells me from the runner though that picked it up. I bet it's in those mermaids. Something tells me Falconic's the kind of runner that went to mermaids.
Death Touch in that encounter from Tilo.
Oh wow, we did not see that from Bismarck.
So it was either the Sea Troll or the Lobster that had it. 400 hit point fighter just gone. And that could influence what, if any, chests Tilo decides to check, because some of them are guarded by that monster combination. Some sea trolls and some lobsters at least.
And there's the ribbon in the Sky Castle. Most of our runners, I'd say 99%, are going to check those chests.
That 4-pack, yeah, it's practically on the way.
Especially if you're on the hunt for ribbons. I've got Silverfire picking up their Power Bonk. Power Bonk is a castable item that casts Temper on the wearer.
It actually casts Saber.
Oh, it's Saber, I'm sorry. So, that's better than Temper.
Yeah, it provides a couple more points of attack, but it also provides additional accuracy. Smart call by Silver here, picking up a rub. If ribbons are going to be in short supply.
That is true.
Not realizing that there are cheap pro rings in Melmond, which almost nullify the need for it.
Oh, looks like we have one runner who X-Ice Blue has all 4 orbs.
And looks like Brad already has an air orb lit already, just has to light water.
Oh, we're down to 2 light warriors on Tilo's side. Kraken 2, you, I think, had stun touch if I remember.
Kraken 1, yeah, I believe it did have stun touch.
I could. Tilo has that 1 ribbon, so I don't know who he has it equipped on it. Oh, we'll see right now.
It's on the
Oh, he
9th.
doesn't have that ribbon. Oh yeah, he has it on his. Okay, on his 3rd character. Oh, and I didn't even notice that we're on the Bridge of Destiny and we're on the look for some war mechs. I think we gotta see a war mech over our Forerunners.
There, with 16 racers altogether, there's gotta be at least one more mech.
There's gotta be one somewhere.
Maya running into a glut of encounters before getting to the door, so...
It's like Tilo made it through.
Yep, water's red.
His 2nd orb with Silverfire checking the chests on the 1st floor of the Earth Cave. Our only runner to do that so far.
Edge Figaro also has all 4 orbs lit.
The same with Brat, it looks like. Oh, this has been a fun race. I'm glad we got a ship TNTC. You know, it can kind of show, you know, the routing decisions of our racers. You know, the difference in routing, you know, making smart routing decisions can really put you ahead like that.
Absolutely, and especially with the open progression turned on. Suddenly what feels like a very linear vanilla game can go off in many different directions, as looks like Biz is going to check the other chests up here, not just the 4 near the teleporter.
Yeah, so we have to assume that if he's checking those chests, he's going to check the 4 with the ribbon. And Maya took care of Tiamat. He's got his 2nd orb lit.
Still has earth and water to go, but he's pretty much in go.
Tilo visiting Sarda for his crown.
Silver's down to the third floor of Earth.
It looks like Maya will be visiting the Sea Shrine next. Well, Tilo goes to the Earth Cave. You know, this is great. My head is spinning from trying to keep track of us. Our tracker, Melee Wizard, has done an awesome job keeping on top of all this.
Absolutely.
I've done a lot of tracking, and I always forget to do the backgrounds.
I have done some hellish tracking during this tournament. We had the one exhibition with the entrance shuffle.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't even imagine tracking something like that. It's going to be really interesting tracking our bracket stages, because it doesn't always go, it doesn't always go slab translated chime. It could go slab translated canal. It could go, the crown doesn't turn into the crystal. The crystal could give you the TNT, Things, tracking will be very interesting in our next round.
Yep, but our partners at Randomania and also at Speed Gaming have done very well by us to get these trackers going, get them sorted whenever something goes wrong, and I'm hoping it continues with the bracket rounds, as some of these items are going to have to be decoupled from each other for the fetch chains.
Now we can properly go out and say, get your blessed RNGs out for Bismarck. Bismarck is almost on the bridge of destiny.
Ooh, something's putting his... Ooh, sorcerers with sleep.
Is that White Mage stoned, or is that just the sprite?
That's just the sprite. Looks
Okay.
like it's dark and sleep. So off stream, one of our runners has 2 ribbons now, that being Falconic, and he's also found the Excalibur.
Oh, wow. Adamant was in the Sea Shrine as well, so he must have made a trip towards the mermaids and found him at Adamant, and that's just what I would have to assume at this point.
Probably so. Mermaids and the floor right before it do have a lot of chests. Silverfire sparking off the Earth Orb.
Looks like we have Maya very, very close to Kraken. We're at the hour 40-minute mark. We still have none of our racers, of all the 15 racers, none of them have actually finished the game. It looks like we have a couple runners who have lit all their orbs. I count 3 that have lit all their orbs, and we've got Bismarck, who doesn't look like he's too far behind them. My short work of Kraken 1. His 3rd orb, he'll be making a trip down to the Earth Cave, and he should be able to blitz through that in a couple of minutes.
Silver is about to use their knowledge of the 2-word language to go pick themselves up a chime. At least we haven't seen any Lupas on this stream.
That's always good. That's happened to me I don't know how many times. It's very easy to forget to, you know, route in going to Melman. I mean, it's not difficult, but it's an easy thing to forget to do.
No
and for some
Warmac.
people who don't know, you have to get that chime translated to learn the language to talk to that person. And because that person can understand you, just decides to give you the chime.
So
We got
it
3
doesn't
orbs
appear-
on Tilo's side.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that Bismarck has found a Warmac, but 2 more runners got to go through Sky Castle, so we'll see.
Tilo has 3 orbs, but still needs to finish this crown quest and do some shopping.
He also needs to pick up his chime, which is going to entail the long walk to Lefane and back.
Oh, and I have lost my stream. 1 moment, please.
Bismarck just took down Tiamat. All 4 orbs are lit. It's tougher time. Also on RM1, Edgeworth has all 4 orbs lit. So it looks like overall, Bismarck may be getting in 5th as far as Topher goes.
Okay, it looks like my stream's back. We got
Welcome
Maya
back.
already on the 3rd floor of Earth.
It really doesn't take long, especially when you don't have to look for anything.
And we have Bismarck 189 at the hour 43 minute mark. Our first runner. Topher looks like he's taking a bit of a grind.
That's a distinct possibility, especially with easy access to warp.
Yeah, I wonder about strategy in a race like this because you've got the knowledge of just pulling up the RC room that nobody has actually finished. You know that all you have to do is to get the top 8. Maybe he's like, oh, you know, I'm doing pretty well. Maybe I can take a couple minutes here and grab a couple extra levels.
And remember that while Tristal is running, his results do not count toward this. Even if he finishes first, we still got 8 more slots. The good thing is also we've seen no forfeits. This seed has not been so nasty that people just give up on their chance at the brackets.
Let's see, I'm going to try to give a bit of an update. Looks like we have 6 runners that have all 4 orbs lit right now. Edgeworth, Ice Blue, Broadster, Falconic, Bismarck, and Edge Figaro.
And I'd
I
say
have to imagine Maya is only a minute or so behind having that be realistic for him.
I would say this, based on what we're seeing from the equipment loadouts, if spell defense turns out to be a thing that's needed in here, Falconic could be the dark horse.
Falconic's a good friend of mine, and I remember him saying he just didn't want to get in the bottom 3. I think you're doing pretty good there, buddy, if you watch this one.
So, we just had our first finisher cross. It's X Ice Blue with an SRL time of 1:45.21.
That's a really good time for these kind of, you know, a ship TNT. An hour 45 is a great time.
Yep, and X-Ice was moderately prepared, had the white shirt, the power bonk, and a single ribbon. So I guess that was enough.
Yeah, maybe that means that Topher isn't too crazy. I wonder if, you know, maybe Bismarck sees that out of the corner of his eye and is like, okay, maybe it's time to stop grinding and get in here. We have Maya now, looks like our 7th runner who has all 4 orbs. He's done all of his shopping, I have to imagine. Maybe just grab a couple more heal pots and he'll be in the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yeah, these runners have to feel that why they don't... They need to finish. They can't really dawdle, but at the same time, there's a little breathing room. Only one person is finished. There's still 7 more slots up for grabs.
It looks like Bismarck has finished his grind. I didn't catch his levels. How high he got?
We have a second finisher. Bratster's finished. 147.04.
So if I'm a runner now and I see some runners starting to go within minutes of each other, I'm like, okay, now it's getting close. Gotta move now.
Time to step on the gas. As we see Bismarck doing, he's running from these gasties, even though they'd mean a ton of experience. So is Maya, about to face Phantom. And runnable Phantom.
Doesn't check the validation chests.
Yeah, so sadly we'll have to void his run. Bismarck's checking him, and we see a heal staff and a little bit of pocket change. Curiously, Silverfire is checking the outer chests in Sky 1. You'd think with them seeing people start to finish that, and they're still in Sky Castle with another dungeon to finish after that. Might be time to get going.
Yeah, that's where I would be thinking right now. You don't know if they are paying attention to the MIRC. You know, I know some runners just completely don't pull up it at all. They don't want to know where they stand. They just want to, you know, focus on their race, and if they, you know, they finish where they finish. I kind of like, you know, when I run, you know, if I'm running against an Edgeworth or a Fuchsia Fantasy or something like that, you know, I kind of like to, you know where I stand.
I don't really do this competitively. Obviously, I'm known more for making the sprite hack, but when I am running, I just want to run again. I'm running my own race. I don't care what others are doing. I'll leave the thing up, but if someone finishes, oh well.
That's true. There's like Silverfire. Gonna be pretty happy to next 4 chests that they visit. Or maybe I was wrong.
And apparently Lich 2 didn't have anything because Bismarck's already passed. Maya's about to give us a look. Probably won't be much.
We still only have 2 finishers at this point. Still 6 slots available.
Yeah, that Lich had close to, if not a little less than vanilla hit points. For Lich 1.
Carry 2 on Bismarck's screen.
Ooh, decent amount of absorb by the look of it. A crit only did 139.
Looks like he has the mass immune on the white mage. It's just going straight melee. Nothing on carry 2. Got Maya on carry 2 on his side. Tilo and his greater than less than room picking up the opal bracelet. Maya took care of carry 2, and let's see if the ultimate final boss, Kraken 2, has anything for our runners today.
Bismarck's supplies are looking good, up to Kraken 2 and still at about 70 heal potions to play with. In meantime, Bridge of Destiny should be pretty close for Silverfire, so maybe get a Warmax sighting.
Kraken 2 slaps down the White Mage.
And both Red Wizards are not in good shape either.
He's casting Ruse.
Fire
Oh, there goes a... He has 2 life charges on that Red Wizard. If he can get that Red Wizard, if he can get through the rest of this fight with that Red Wizard alive, he could recover from this.
And
Maya has Kraken 2 on his screen as well. Oh, nuke.
Oh. And now poison. That Red Wizard is hanging on by the skin of its teeth, and Lightning 2 says, no way.
Well, he has everything that you possibly could want for a solo fighter to beat the game. You have the defense, you have a ribbon, you have the mass immune, you have the power gauntlet. It's everything you need. The opal bracelet, dragon armor. I believe he has, yeah, he has the dragon armor. Everything you could possibly need for a level 24 fighter. Level 24 is also where you get your 5th hit on your mass immune. If he can get his charges up on his defense sword, you can still do this with only 1 character.
Yeah, it just gets a lot more dicey.
And there's still only 2 finishers at this point.
Well, that Kraken 2 is rough enough with that nuke to qualify as a final boss. So it could be gatekeeping a little on us, even if it didn't get the 2 to have already finished.
And it's level 25 now.
Starting to run low on supplies.
Looks like Maya made it through in a much better condition.
Oof. Tiamat 2 proving she's no slouch, hitting for almost 200 on the first shot.
He's got all of his defense up now. He's just really hoping to dodge something like a nuclear now. 436 damage. It's only going to last another round or 2 at that. There you go. 2 shots on Tiamat 2. And we missed it on the top. Silverfire has defeated Tiamat. That's their 3rd orb. Tilo not far behind. He's going to pick up his 2nd ribbon, which, could be pretty big when we're getting down here close to, the 8th place positions. Oh yeah, Edge Figaro finishing in 3rd place with a time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 50 seconds.
Oof.
So 5 spots still remaining, and we have Bismarck has made it to Chaos's floor.
And Maya is fighting Tiamat. Chaos starting with a lit 2 and then a rub. Neither one really that effective. Bismarck using the defense for the first couple rounds, then starting to power bonk. Gotta get that attack up. Chaos throwing a stop. It doesn't do anything. More power bonk. Lightning 2 again. 3 hits. 224. Oh, Cure 4.
That's actually not the worst place to have it.
Yep.
He'd only done a couple hundred damage.
Chaos
I
sneaking
think
a hit
he only
through.
defense sorted twice there.
Yeah, he did. Ice 3, that's not going to do much against the Ribbon Nuke.
We have
But a big
fourth
hit
place
from the
finisher.
Knight. Our 4th place finisher is Bismarck.
Oh, there we go.
156.57.
Congratulations, Brosser. He has qualified for the bracket stage. Seeing if we can get him in for an interview here.
4 slots down and 4 to go. Maya is fighting Chaos now and is pretty close to punching his ticket.
We have Maya looking in pretty good shape.
Yeah, with that whole group, Chaos didn't really show anything to take out one except for the occasional hit.
Tilo on Tiamat 1 right now. Silverfire getting close to Kraken 1, which is their last fiend.
Chaos just let loose a nuclear on Maya. You're now doing healing potion strats, which I can understand because healing magic has been sparse. Cure 4 was level 6, and I saw a heal 3 at level 7.
I think I saw a pretty big hit from and there we go. GG. Ik bin Maya. 5th place. A time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 34 seconds. GG. We still have 3 places still to go. Looks like we have Tilo going to the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
In 6th place, we have Edgeworth finishing. 2 hours flat and 9 seconds. So
Here, I'm going to try to pull. Hey, Bismarck,
Hello.
GG.
How's it going?
Good. 4th place. Good time. How do you think
I'll
about
take
that,
it.
seed?
Yep, first on our channel to finish.
Yeah, I saw Maya just finished. I didn't realize this is something that's never happened before. My wife was actually watching with my son down the stairs. So she came up and was like, yeah, I knew you were going to win. was like, well, I didn't win, but
Did good enough. You just had to hit top 8, and that's what happened.
And speaking of top 8, at number 5, we got Ishbin Maya right here. GG.
Thank you very
Maya.
much.
hey, GG Maya, please don't ban me.
Ha! GG to YouTube is Mark. Not today, okay?
Not today. Okay. I mean, I know I did beat you.
That was nerve-wracking. Special thanks to Kraken for making that super special and interesting.
Yeah, he did. You didn't see, but I actually man-moded Chaos.
You man mode Tiamat 2 and Chaos.
Yeah, I Tiamat 2 and Chaos, and 4 worms. that was the scary part. I knew I was going to get through Kraken once I got a few of those tempers up. I had no idea I was going to get through those worms.
So,
if I hadn't
right.
gotten that run, I would have died.
So, our other 2 runners are still going, both in TOFR as Silverfire gets in.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Looks like we have 2 spots still available.
We do. Tristal hasn't finished, right? So he hasn't.
No, I don't think he's finished.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
not factoring him in.
When I finished, I looked and I wasn't surprised at all. I was like, well, Ice Blue, I could see that. I could see Broadster, and then Edge Figaro and me have almost always been like 2 minutes apart from each other in every seed we've ever run. So that doesn't surprise me either. He beat me by a minute and 7 seconds. So I was pretty happy. I pulled up the Hex chat at Chaos, so I didn't realize how close I was to 3rd place until Chaos started.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting seed. You know, a lot of easy things. You know, Power Bonk was in a pretty easy location. You know, 1 ribbon in a pretty. I mean, the ship TNT was a little trolly, but you know that's fun for a play-in race.
I found the encounter table to be just awful. I could not get a handle on how far I could walk before I would get into an encounter, and so I felt like I was just flailing around in the overworld trying to get anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was very manipulable. You know, you can manipulate it very easily.
The encounter table?
Yeah, the 3rd
No.
spot maybe had about 3 or 4 seconds of a run, but it was just such a pain to get to.
Yeah, I power cycled twice. There was no point in it. I just did resets and fought a bunch of tents. Hey, thanks, sweetheart. This is my prize.
I stole it from town.
Happy
Stole
anniversary,
my dog.
Bismarck.
Oh, and Mr. Maya says happy anniversary.
I didn't get their
Yeah. Here's to 5 more, and then some.
The evidence
The evidence?
of this?
I need you to return the bag back to the child's room.
Okay, I'll do that.
So,
Alright, I love you.
thank you, Amber's.
All right, we're at 2 hours and 4 minutes in, and we still have 2 spots open.
So, how are the other channels looking? I'm gonna pull them up while I'm at here. I don't know. I was gonna ask a question to Maya. Now I can't remember what I was gonna ask.
Oh, I had a question for you, Bismarck.
Sure,
you
what's up?
You grinded a bit before you went in TOFR. Was that? I was just kind of curious. Were you like strategizing that nobody had finished yet, and you probably had some time to grind?
Well, I was getting to 24 for the mass immune.
Okay, so you did just want to hit 24.
Yeah, and then I get to Kraken 2, and I forget to equip the mass immune. I don't know if you noticed that.
So,
Huh?
pretty much all of our runners still going, with one exception, have all 4 orbs lit.
Yeah, we've
Wow.
only had 1 forfeit so far from the race, so we still have, by my estimation, 8 people going for 2 spots.
I am looking at the other party comps I'm seeing, and I'm guessing that a lot of people are having issues with Kraken's first nuke out of the gate. I'm really glad I went with 2 fighters and knights up front, because I think that was probably that extra HP I felt really comfortable with. I see a lot of dead mages lying around.
Yeah, I went with 2 reds and a white, along with my knight. Or 2 reds.
It's like Tilo's on the earth floor now. He just hit 24. He's gone with a 3-man strat this entire time. Damn the white mage really early, and it's just gone with a fighter and 2 red mages the whole time.
Fizzle's on Chaos, and I don't expect him to have any trouble. He should be fine. Chaos wasn't that hard. You just had to weather the initial couple hits, and that's what the defense sword and power bonk are for. So I suspect we might see him outdone in next.
Silver's on the water floor, making a run of it.
How's Falconic doing? It seemed like he was pretty up there in progression throughout the race.
He is in Earth 4.
Up there's Fizzlebeef finishing in 7th place.
Falconic is grinding, I guess. If there's 2 spots left, I'm not grinding. That's just me.
Yep, Fizzlebeef's finished 2:06:51.
GG to Fizzlebeef. I know he was nervous about this.
1 slot left, and it looks like Silverfire had to reset out.
By the way, Terralyn, it's worth mentioning you and I commentated for our first times ever together. I don't know if you remember that. Glad to have you here to watch me move on.
Yep.
Yep, not glad to see you too, Bismarck. Just yep.
I'm trying to keep an
You're fine.
eye on everything while y'all are talking.
I'm picking on you. You're fine. Oh, and it looks like who is that? Demarine's down to just the fighter for Knight against Worms. And her stream is frozen.
Oh no.
Well, that's where I was. Y'all saw that 4-worm fight with my Knight. All it would have taken was one more missed run, and I would have had to restart.
Well, Silver's trying to rush back to where they were. Tilo's down the fire floor.
Looks like Dubmarine's made it to Tiamat. Next slide, please. With a solo Knight, she can do this with just 1 character up.
Oh yeah, I did it with 1 character. So I know she can. She absolutely can.
Yeah,
So,
I just pulled up the quad stream. It looks like Demarine is right now in the lead for the 8th spot.
So Maya, what route did you go?
Good question. So after Elfland, I went up to Provoca, nothing there. Then I dove Volcano because I wanted some materials so that I could pick up the level 3 and 4 spells back in Elfland before I went to Ice Cave. And so that was my route. And then I dove down to see what the chest was, realized that we had a ship in TNT seed, and then stayed in full cleared ice, and then did Volcano after that and found what I was looking for. So no Marsh for me. I hope nobody had to go to Marsh today.
Did you pick up Ice 2 or Quad X at level 2?
Oh man, I agonized over that, especially because like Invis 2 was sitting at level 2 as well, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, right.
I ended up doing Ice 2. I left Quad X there.
So I picked up Quad X on both of my red mages, and it actually worked out. I ended up basically grinding on Hydras and Ochos on the river on the way back to Elfland, because I knew I had gone through Elfland and knew that Fade was 1,000. I didn't have the money at the time, so I Quad X'd them pretty much on the way back and got to like level 10, level 12, something like that. Got some level 4 spells and headed, or something like that, and then headed back to Ice, did Ice, and then with the Volcano. Like I didn't touch Volcano before I did Ice.
Silver's got Witch 2 down again, and Tilo is almost to Kraken 2.
Oh, and Demarine.
Oh no, that might be her tournament right there.
Wow, Chaos holding a nuke in there. Was that what it was?
That's what it looked like.
Oh, brutal.
Oh yeah, no, Chaos did, because Chaos hit me with a nuke. That's right, because Chaos knocked me down to like 130, I think is what I beat him with. Something like that.
Let's try to get a gauge of.
That's rough. I feel for
maybe
Demarine, because
Coper might be in.
Yeah, Jake Coper looks to be in good.
Jake Coper and
Cleosis is right behind him.
Tilo are on Kraken 2.
Jay Coper's going to end up 1v1 and everybody after this. Yep, he's doing the same thing that Demarine and I did. But he doesn't have nearly enough health potions. Well, he might. That's about what I had, actually. What level is he? I can see.
20.
I hope he's 24, because he's going to need that extra swing. Yeah, if I'm him, take that ribbon, or take the hill helmet and get rid of the ribbon. He doesn't have, oh no, he doesn't have the power bonk. Because I had the power bonk 3 or 4 times on Tiamat to have a real chance of hitting him.
Yeah, now the worms have found him.
Oh, that's rough. Poor guy, he's going to be not happy about that.
Tilo's made it past Kraken 2, only
We got-
lost 1.
We got Will Cleosis on Kraken 2.
And Silver here running through the water.
Coper's getting smashed by some worms.
Silverfire's about to hit Kraken 2. Yeah, Coper's in bad shape, and that's wipe.
All right, I'd say, yeah, for sure. Tilo, it's the best chance right now.
Some commentators,
You
how
got
did
Crystal
go
on
ahead.
Chaos? I was just
Yeah, nobody cares about Tristal. I
Tristal's
kid.
just there for SRL points.
So, how do you guys feel like this whole shindig came off? Did it, I mean, y'all had a front row seat to everything. What do you think about it?
It was really cool. I think like one of the coolest parts was having this the master tracker Google Doc that everybody could update, so we could kind of get like a sense like throughout the race that we did kind of have like the sense the whole time that you two were on pace to finish in the top 8, and that we knew that kind of Silverfire and Tilo were lagging a little behind the pace.
Yeah, my wife told me at the end that she couldn't remember who it was, but that somebody was neck and neck with me the whole way. And she thought it was Maya, but she wasn't sure.
Oh yeah,
I told
you two were pretty close most of the time.
My son had been begging to watch me race, and it's hard for me to let the kid sit beside you and talk while you're racing. So I told him this time he could watch on his Kindle, but I said, if you come upstairs and say a word to me, you'll never be allowed to watch me ever again. And Daddy will have to lose. He's like, oh, I don't want that.
Demarine Silverfire is past Kraken 2. Tristal is finished, but his result doesn't count. There's still 1 slot.
Looks like Tilo here on our channel is through Tiamat.
Silver's white mage survived by the skin of her teeth, so now they gotta try to get through Tiamat 2 and Chaos. And
Oh, High Spirits is on Chaos. I missed that.
gotta hope something bad happens to one of the other runners.
Oh, I didn't notice. High Spirits must have ran through. I thought he was.
He could be our next finisher. Unless Chaos pulls out that nuke and does something nasty. Oh, Chaos has nuclear. I didn't see that.
That's the one that I saw. I didn't see nuke. I saw nuclear.
Oh, he just hit for over 1,000. I think this is
And GG to High Spirits.
High
Here's
Spirits.
our 4th and final finisher. Or 8th and final finisher. Or final placer, I guess, not finisher.
Yep, at a time of 2:14:57, capturing that 8th and final transfer spot. So our brackets are going to be set.
What a race.
Yeah, no kidding. That was crazy. That was nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Yeah, I was super nervous all day long. I wasn't planning on grinding like I did, but once I realized I was at 22, I was like, if we get to 24, I got a really good shot at finishing this, and I'd hate to need those 2 levels and have to restart this and miss out because of it.
I feel really bad for Silverfire and Demarine because both of them had a chance to go against these final bosses, but wiped out and had to restart.
Yeah, now we have all sorts of people on Chaos. Falconic
Yes.
is there.
Will's there.
Cleosis is there.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of glad Will Cleosis is not gonna be in the tournament because I want to hear him commentate more.
Yes.
Yeah,
mean, it's
definitely.
I know that's mean, and I feel bad saying it, but it's
Oh, he just got rubbed through with ribbons. So.
no! What are the odds of that happening?
Tilo finished 9th.
Oh, Tilo. And
Yeah,
Tilo
getting
didn't
that-
think he had a chance either.
Getting that hit in for 10-20.
Yeah, he finished 90 seconds behind 8th place. Falconic finished in 11th, well, 10th place for us.
Yeah, finishing 14 seconds apart like that, but still both just short of the final transfer spot.
What else we got? Silverfire, still working on him. Did Will Cleosis? Oh yeah, that's right, he wiped. So next we got Jay Coper, and it looks like Demarine wiped again because she's against the Badman still. Demarine forfeited. That's a shame.
Yeah, that sucks.
Silverfire finished 2 hours,
11th
17
place.
minutes, 26 seconds.
Well, GG to Silver. They got set
And
back a lot
Tilo is
by
going to
some.
be beating. I mean, he did. For you two, Tilo went to Marsh.
Yeah,
He found a ribbon in the Marsh cave, but that was about it.
and Silverfire just got set back in the early game by so many wipes and ice, a near wipe, and volcano. Ended up having to nope it out on foot. They had hit the red D chest and everything and had to hoof it out, and that cost a lot of time and possibly a decent bit of morale as well.
And there goes that.
So I think we only have 2 runners still going, and that's Will and Jake Coper. I believe they are on Random Media 2.
Yep, all our runners are done, so I imagine we're going to be going over to one of the other Random Manias shortly. Okay, so we're going to be going over to Randomania, getting assigned a host. So, GG to our 2 runners from this group to make it to the transfer round.
Yeah, congratulations, you two. That was a great race.
Thank you. Congrats, Maya.
Yeah, congrats, Bismarck. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you're able to race. Your wife is the secret MVP of the evening. So
True story.
I'm glad
she
it
is. She is the MVP of my life.
Yep, and thanks
Then she
to,
went doll.
thanks to Melee Wizard for tracking, Shalasia for restreaming, Tyrannex, my code commentator. I am Terrelin. Thank you for watching. Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll.